you are joining me for the first time, please remember to click subscription button and hit that notification bell to be the first person to receive the video that will be produced by Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, updating you. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media.
Good evening. Yes, so I just want to talk about a few things that have happened today, and or basically what has preoccupied my mind today. Firstly, I want to say today I've met a number of people. The campaigns have started, and I'm reaching out to people according to my means. I don't have the resources to go around and do some of these big things, but I'm doing, the bit that I can, meeting people. But one thing that has been peculiar today is that a lot of people keep pushing me or asking me, which side are you? Which side are you? Thank you. A lot of people are asking me, which side are you? Which side are you? No, we can't trust you because maybe you go back to PF. Why don't you work with Hakainde Hichilema? Unfortunately, I did touch about this earlier on, but I will address it again. I am not with the PF, neither am I with the UPND. This polarization is actually not good for our country. We cannot be so polarized such that if you are not this side, then you are the other side. This is not healthy. It's not healthy for our democracy. It's not healthy for our country. Yes, it is the UPND and the Patriotic Front who are the biggest opposition political parties in this country. But we can't all be either PF or UPND. I don't think it's good. I was with the PF, and in spite of what happened towards the end, I still stand to appreciate the PF because I learned quite a lot. I learned quite a lot from the PF. So I'm not going to be that bitter person because yes, I was with them. Then I was thrown in the cells, and then I come out and start saying all sorts of bad things. I don't think that is maturity from my point of view. Remember, when Vakambwili left PF and went to UPND, I criticized him for the things that he used to say. I criticized him. When Vakambwili again went back to PF, the things he was talking against Hakainde Hichilema, I criticized him. Because I don't think that is the way we should be operating. Today I'm with you. Then when I'm not with you, when we differ, I go out and I start saying all sorts of things, like the way Vakambwili was doing. I don't think that is the way I want to operate. Yes, frankly speaking, what PF did to me, I am not happy. But I will just speak about that yes, that was not good. I will not go into other issues and start exposing them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And because I am no longer with PF, I'm not simply going to jump into bed with the UPND. No, I don't think this is how mature people should operate. It doesn't work out like that. You can't be, today you are in bed with the PF, the following day you are in bed with the UPND. I think I reserve a little bit of principle. And I want to be courageous to tell you that some of the issues that I was talking about against the PF, against UPND, I still maintain them. I want the votes. I want you to vote for me. But please, don't hold me to ransom, or there is a word I'm looking for. Don't blackmail me into supporting your either sides. Because of course, even the PF, some of the PF are coming to say, just come back. You are part of us. Just apologize. No, I'm not going to operate like that. So please, I'm asking, this is a plea to you, that look at me as Chilufya Tayali leading a party called Economic and Equity Party. A guy who does not belong to PF, a guy who does not belong to the UPND. He's standing on his own. And I'm asking you to help me to remain like this by voting for me. Help me to remain like this, to remain independent, so that I can be objective, so that I can be your voice, I can speak for you, so that I can be a person that you can come to and I'll listen to you, regardless of which political party you belong to, especially as a mayor. That is what I want to bring in that office of mayor. I want to bring neutrality. I don't want to look at people from the spectrum of political parties. I don't think a person who looks at things from the point of view of a political party can be a good mayor. the position of mayor is such that this person is supposed to be the father of the city, who is supposed to look at the interest of all political parties, not looking at, no, because this one is PF, no, because this one is UPND. That I don't want to be. So please, vote for me as mayor without you pushing me in this direction. Just vote for me as mayor. And I promise you, I will save you regardless of which political party you belong to, regardless of which religious grouping you come from. I will just look at you as Zambians or as residents. That is what I want to be. Vote for me without pushing me to belong to either PF or UPND. Let me stand on the neutral ground so that I can work better as mayor. I hope you understand. Please bear with me. My differences with PF does not mean that I should come out there and bring out all the dirty linen in public. I'm not going to do that. At the same time, I'm no longer, I said it, I'm no longer going to attack Mr. Hakainde Hichilema unnecessarily just for political expedience. I'm not going to do that. I want to be a good mayor. So please vote for me. Help me be that neutral person, that mayor that will save the people of Lusaka. Having said that, let me go to the other point. And look, the issues that I'm discussing, it's not an attack to either to PF, it is just observation, speaking objectively. So this, when I'm bringing up issues, don't look at it to say, no, he's attacking PF. No. He's looking at issues of national interest, in the interest of the public. So my discussions here are not to attack the PF or to attack UPND or to favor either of the political parties, but it is discussing issues in the interest of the public, so that some of you that may not be able to follow these issues properly can get an insight to say, oh, okay, so this is what is happening. And of course, some of these issues are quite technical. I may be wrong. Where I go wrong, please feel free to call me and tell me to say, okay, this is what you said, but the way it is supposed to be, it is like that. If, you convince me, I'll be able to come here and help. So my discussions are in the interest of the public, not campaigning for anyone, not decampaigning anyone. And one of the issues that I have noticed is that they seem to be, I'm looking at the fees that I've seen, particularly the one coming from the Attorney General, who has written to John Sangwa asking for 5 million kwacha. And he has warned that John Sangwa must pay the 5 million kwacha within 14 days. If John Sangwa doesn't pay the 5 million kwacha, the court will move in, and you know what that means. It basically means at the end of the day, bailiffs following John Sangwa, possibly even rendering him bankrupt. I am not in agreement with all the petitions that John Sangwa has brought before the courts. I'm not in agreement with all of them, particularly the one that the last one, where the Attorney General is asking for 5 million, where he was questioning, where he was trying to push ECZ to bring in that one. I've never held office twice in the affidavit, because ECZ has been given the mandate by the Constitution to organize elections, and they can do things, you know, like in the affidavit, they can choose which questions that should go in there. I didn't see it necessary that John Sangwa should go to the Concord to push ECZ to include that. I didn't agree with that one. I also didn't agree with John Sangwa where we are coming from when he tried to join in that case of Venadan Pule. I didn't agree with the arguments. I also didn't agree with the arguments that were raised during the presidential petition. So, I don't agree with John Sangwa on a number of issues. But that as it may be, I find it preposterous that the Attorney General is asking for 5 million kwacha out of that litigation. I think it is astronomical. I think it is exaggerated. In my opinion, I think it is exaggerated. And I think these amounts are being drawn to intimidate John Sangwa, State Council, of course. And that is not right. Much as I don't agree with the petitions, I don't agree that the Attorney General should be using a government institution to intimidate a citizen like John Sangwa, who is trying to defend the Constitution, wrongly or rightly. The fact is, he's trying to defend the Constitution, wrongly or rightly. And slapping him with huge sums of legal fees, I don't think it is in the interest of the Zambian people. It is meant to intimidate him. It is meant to frustrate him. And that is not good. And in my observation, this is not the only thing that I've seen where state institutions seems to be, manipulated to fight a political agenda or to advance a political agenda. This is not the only issue. The extra detentions that are going on, they are part of this manipulation of state institutions. In this governance of the PF, even up to today as we speak, because it's still president of PF who is in charge, we have seen a number of people being taken in and kept in the cells for some time. Without taking them to court. I think we have seen this so common during the time of President Edgar Lungu. If my memory serves me right, during the time of Mwanawasa, so many people were arrested. And I must tell you that most of those arrests, I didn't like them. Because for me, I saw that, the corruption crusade of Levi Mwanawasa was very selective. But we didn't see this kind of extrajudicial detentions of people. It wasn't like this. People were going to court. But at this time around, I think we have seen more of people being, detained without being taken to court. At the moment, we are talking about Mubita now. Why is Mubita now being detained without being taken to court? In my view, that is another way of abusing the state institutions. I am one of those people that called for Mubita Nawa's arrest, because I believe that insulting the state Republican president is wrong. And I don't agree with what Mubita Nawa did. But much as I don't agree with what Muvita Nawa did, Muvita Nawa is not supposed to be detained without being taken to court. It is not right. We are not judges. Muvita Nawa or any other citizen that he is suspected to have committed a crime is supposed to be arrested accordingly and taken before the courts. Not what is happening at the moment. A number of people have been detained longer than they are supposed to. This is not right. This is an abuse of state institutions. On the other hand, while we see some of the people being detained, like Muvita Nawa, including myself, being detained longer than they are supposed to, we have seen people that are accused of corruption, having stolen, accused of, stolen a lot of money. They don't even go near the cells. Bonds are signed even before, just in talking, even before they are arrested. But others, they are not even arrested, they are in. I was not arrested. I think I was arrested on I don't know if it's on the 60th day. That's when I was arrested. This is not right. This is not good governance. And when I say this, it is not because I hate President Edgar Lungu. This is because I say it because it is not in the interest of this country, a Christian nation for that matter, that citizens should be treated in the manner that people like Muvita Nawa are being treated. It is not fair. It is not Christian. We are Christian. We are a Christian nation. It is not Christian. President Edgar Lungu proclaims Christianity and has even declared 18th October as a day of national prayer. President Edgar Lungu has a group of Christians following him. But this is not how a Christian should look after, a Christian leader should look after his people. Muvita Nawa, he is a child of God. Muvita Nawa has a family. Muvita Nawa has people that depend on him. Why are you callously holding him in the cells, in detention? Why can't you release him? It's not fair. It's not fair. It's an abuse. And you see, these things, for me, I believe that the bad things that we do, they follow us right here on earth. This is what I believe. I believe that the bad things we do, we bear the consequences of them right here on earth. My brothers and sisters, those of you who are in PF, His Excellency President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, I have said many times that God gave him that office because President Edgar Lungu never thought he would be president. But God made it possible for him to be in State House. But these kind of actions might just cost him what God gave him. It is no doubt that a number of people still have goodwill in the PF. But these things that are currently happening, they are eroding public confidence in the PF and President Edgar Lungu. And these things are happening during the time of campaigns. These things might be reflected in the way people vote. As one person that interacts on social media, I see how people react. When you post something that is against the PF, especially President Edgar Lungu. A good example is just go and check the postings I did on the petition. Just go and see there. You will see that there are few comments and there are few likes, but the views are high. People who are reacting to issues that relate to President Edgar Lungu are few. You might say, no, President Edgar Lungu is like, no. It is also possible, that as it may be, it is also possible that people are scared to comment. They are scared to comment, they are scared to react, they are scared to click that like, in spite of what they may feel. And when it comes to voting, they might vote in a manner that will shock President Edgar Lungu. From the number of people that have been meeting today, talking to them, and you know the goodness is that I'm talking to people from different parts of the country who are phoning me. A few minutes ago, I was talking from somebody from Mpulungu. And he was telling me, well, but Tayali, things don't look good for PF. Votes will be split. Earlier on, about 2 hours ago, I was talking with somebody who is what is this? I think it's Chingola, where Musukwa is. He was part of the meetings that Honorable Musukwa was having, and he was telling me things here in the Copper Belt also don't look good. And it's not only this person that has told me that things don't look very good. Yesterday when I went to Pamateveto, I had lunch Pamateveto. I met one of the senior PF members. He's from Rwanda, and he was telling me, Vatari, background defintuna fikosa. Fiakosa shani, how come, things looks to be so difficult at this point in time? Fiakosa shani. When President Edgar Lungu is a chosen one. When President Edgar Lungu has done so many things, and we can't take away that from him. There are a lot of infrastructure development that has gone on. And when you look around from that point of view, you would really think that people should easily warm up to President Edgar Lungu. But what is happening, or what I'm hearing from different people, it really looks not so good. I was thinking that Hakainde Hichilema is not surrounded by so many prominent politicians like Vena GBM. They have left him. Avena GBM, Avena Kambwiri, and some of the other, Avena Kakoma, who were PF, they have left him. They are trooping to PF. And with what I'm hearing from different people and what I'm seeing, I'm even thinking to say, maybe these guys might actually regret, having had left Hakainde Hichilema. Because these things which I'm talking about, they are not depositing confidence in the ruling party, confidence in President Edgar Lungu. Tell me I am lying about these things. Somebody saying what you are hearing is rubbish. Bob, Dexter, you might say that. You might say that what I'm hearing is rubbish. But I don't know how many people think like you. I don't know how many people think like you. I don't know. I'm trying to go back to remember the times of Rupiah Banda. Trying to remember what kind of goodwill Rupiah Banda had in 2011. Was Rupiah Banda not liked? Or was Rupiah Banda, had he lost so much public confidence in 2011? Who seems to be doing better between Rupiah Banda and and President Edgar Lungu at this point in time. Maybe I'm being illusional because I was putting myself, so now I'm not seeing things clearly. Maybe. But like I said yesterday, I was incarcerated. What do you think my mother is thinking when it comes to voting? What do you think my mother is thinking when it comes to voting? I told you the other day that my daughter asked me to say, Daddy, who are we going to vote for? I didn't give her an answer. But what do you think my daughter is thinking? Seeing her dad in the cells for 8 days. What do you think she's thinking? Mubitanawa is also a father. He's also a brother. What do you think his relatives are thinking? What do you think his friends are thinking? Or maybe we don't matter. We don't contribute to the success of an election. Maybe we don't matter. Maybe we are just a few. Maybe we are a few. I don't know. The point I'm making is this abuse of state institutions, I don't think it is in the interest, it is helping the Patriotic Front. I don't think it is helping President Edgar Lungu. In my view, in my humble opinion, I think it is taking away something from President Edgar Lungu. It may be one vote of Chilufya Tayali. It may be one vote of Chilufya Tayali's daughter. It may be one vote of Chilufya Tayali's mother. But at the end of the day, you might count those votes, there will be 5. Before I bring in my nieces and cousins, I'm not saying they are not going to vote for you. I'm just making you understand that from one person that you may be persecuting, one person that you may be trying to inflict pain on, you might replicate the negative vibes, the negative feeling about your party, about your president. And these small votes, few numbers of 5 there, 5 there, 2 there, 1 there, they may just be what you need to carry the day. But most importantly, like I've said, most importantly, these are children of God. And when God gives you power, He gives you power so that you can look after people, not to treat people like they are your own. God's children, you don't treat them like they are your own. Especially when you yourself is a sinner. You yourself is a sinner. You yourself is full of iniquities. And yet you want to treat others badly. The other day when I was on Movie TV, I said, Movie TV was censured for whatever I said at Movie TV. And I was saying, if what I had said at Movie TV about those in the ruling party, if what I had said was about Hakainde Hichilema, it would have even been aired on ZNBC. Negative things which are said about the opposition, they are uploaded. There is no problem. But negative things said about the ruling party, they become an issue. They become crimes for which people should be detained without taken to trial. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And you may not like me. You may say, this guy is bitter or anything. But I'm telling you that these things might cost President Edgar Lungu presidency. Even before you talk about, the petition. I'll talk about the petition as well. I'm telling you, a person that is blessed by God, No matter what comes, he doesn't even need to fight. When President Edgar Lungu was anointed to become president in 2015, all the waves were against him, but he did very little. He was not fighting. President Edgar Lungu himself can say it. What did he do? What did he do to make himself president? Very little. People were fighting for him. But this time around, how come State House is so involved in making sure that they retain power? How come? Why is State House, my brothers and sisters in State House, they are working day and night. Even as I'm talking, they are sitting on their on the edges of their seats. They are thinking, they are looking, what is it that we can do? Can we fix this guy? Can we get this guy back inside? You are working so hard. But you know, you can work so hard. Like even myself, I'm trying to work so hard to become president to become mayor of the city of Lusaka. But if I'm going to be doing bad things to people, it will not happen. I will not be a mayor. I can stand as many times as possible, but if I am unjust to others, I will not get into that power. And even President Edgar Lungu, no matter how much you are going to do, you are going to fight, you are going to scheme. If God has said, no, what you are doing to my people is not right, believe you me, President Edgar Lungu will not ride that Mercedes Benz after the elections. He will not ride it. You can silence all of us. You can throw us into the cells. But if God has turned back, it doesn't matter how many bishops will be singing for State House, how many bishops will label their names of Edgar Chagwa Lungu. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I am simply asking you that, can you go back to where you were, where you let things happen according to God's grace? President Edgar Lungu allowed God to work in the 2015-2016 elections. This time around, it's different. Why? State institutions are being abused. Please, watch over this. I am simply saying this not because I am bitter. I am simply expressing myself. Anyway, let me move on to the petitions. We have two petitions now by Legal Research Legal Research Center. Anyway, John Sangwa is the one that is representing this institution. The first one is on the vice presidents. John Sangwa has petitioned almost all running mates to say they have not fulfilled the requirements of running mates. And I quickly went into the constitution to look at what John Sangwa is basically talking about. It's very simple. John Sangwa is simply saying, when you read the constitution, where are we here? When you read the constitution, Article 110, when you read the constitution, it is defining the qualifications for one to be vice president or for one to be a running mate. And the qualification for one to be a running mate or vice president are the same as that of a president. So there are qualifications in Article 100. There are qualifications on how one can become president. The qualification for one to become president, they are well prescribed. They are well prescribed, and you have to pay. You have to be a Zambian. You have to be 35 years old. You must pay the fees, and you must have 100 supporters from each province. In total, 1,000 supporters. So when you come to the vice president, it simply says those qualifications which apply to the president must apply to the vice president. That's what it says. The qualifications which one should fulfill to become president apply equally to the vice president. Meaning everything that you see in terms of qualification of a president must apply to the vice president. So the vice president, the president must be a Zambian. Equally, the vice president must be a Zambian. Let me go to the qualifications. Let me go to the qualifications. So the qualifications. So it says the person must be a citizen by birth or descent. This is a president in Article 100. He must be a citizen by birth or descent. This applies to the vice president as well. He has been ordinarily resident in Zambia. This applies to the vice president as well. So you cannot have, just because me as president have been living in Zambia, I cannot pick somebody who has been living out of the country. He also has to be somebody who has been living in the country. He is 35 years old. That is applied to the president, it applies to the vice president. He is a registered voter. It applies to the president, it also applies to the vice president. Has obtained grade 12 certificate. It applies to the president, it also applies to the vice president. Is fluent in English. It applies to the president, it also applies to the vice president. Has paid taxes. Okay? Has paid taxes. It also applies, it applies to the president as well as the vice president. Declares assets. It applies to the president and whatever. And then he is supported by 100 supporters from each province. It applies to the president, it also applies to the vice president. And of course, there is another one, there is the issue of the money here. Where is the money? There is money here. Has made arrangements to payment for the taxes, declares personal assets and prescribed. Pay subscribed, yes. I pay the subscribed election fee. So this applies to the president, but it also applies to the vice president according to the constitution. According to the constitution, even the president, even the vice president must pay. According to the constitution, even the 100 supporters from each province applies to the president, but it also applies to the vice president. Because when you go to Article 110, where it's talking about the vice president, it does not exclude the vice president from any of these. It says he must pay. I don't understand when you go to the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act exempts the vice president from paying the fees. But I think this is in contravention of the constitution, because whatever subsidiary laws must be in conformity with the supreme law. And the supreme law does not exempt the vice president from paying. The constitution does not exclude the vice president from getting supporters. So what is in the constitution must be fulfilled. And on this one, I totally agree with John Sangwa. I totally agree with John Sangwa. And we must expect, I don't know, I mean, we have to wait for the Constitution Court to rule. Let's wait for the Constitution Court to rule. But in my opinion, I am agreeing with John Sangwa with what is written here. That John Sangwa is, what is talking about, that petition is valid. And it is important that the Constitution Court makes a pronouncement on this one, guides on what is supposed to be done, so that in future, I mean, we do the right thing. Or maybe we have been doing the right thing. That remains to be determined by the Constitutional Court. But what is provided in the Constitution, I don't like to quote the Constitution like the Bible, but if you want to check the qualifications of the president and the vice president, you have to read Article 100. Google it. Google it. You will see the prescription of the qualification. Those prescription, those qualifications and the disqualifications, they apply equal to the vice president. And the reasoning is simple. The Constitution put it. It is that if the president dies, the one who is vice president automatically becomes president. So, since we are voting together, we are voting for them together, they must both be qualified according to the Constitution. So this one, I can only applaud John Sangwa for bringing up this. I applaud him for bringing up this. This being the case, I mean, political parties might have to prepare for, a new nominations. They might have to prepare in case the court rules that actually John Sangwa's observation is valid. So that is on the petition of vice presidents. Let me go now to the more interesting petition. The more interesting petition, the eligibility. Those of you who follow me quite well will remember that I did argue this issue of eligibility. And when I spoke about it, some of you said, no, you are talking like this because PF put you in the cells. Before you are saying, no, President Edgar Lungu is eligible. Now they have put you in the cells. You have come out and you are saying President Edgar Lungu is not eligible. You see, like you, a number of you, I'm sure, still hold that, no, President Edgar Lungu is eligible. But after hearing arguments, some of you might actually say, yeah, he's not eligible. Or otherwise, maybe some of you will say, those of us who are saying he's not eligible, we might say, yeah, he's actually eligible. The problem that we have as human beings, we want to maintain a certain position regardless of the facts that are brought before us. Look, there is nothing wrong in changing your position if the factors and circumstances have changed. There is nothing wrong. It is wrong. I laugh when I see some of you say, no, Tayali is not consistent. I am consistent in following the truth. I am consistent in following the truth. And if today I hold a position which I believe is the truth, but tomorrow I found out that no, it is actually not true, I will not stick to my position just because I said this. And irrespective of what I found out tomorrow, I hold on to that. That is not wisdom, according to me. To me, if I find that no, tomorrow this situation is not what I thought it was, I will change my position. I will change my position. And I can tell you that some people in PF know that I started arguing with this issue with them, closed doors, before I was actually incarcerated. Because somebody came and argued this matter with me when I was busy saying, no, President Edgar Lungu is eligible, President Edgar Lungu is eligible. Somebody followed me right here into my house and stayed with me for about 2 hours, explaining to me, and I got it. And when I got it the following day, I went and saw one of the senior members of PF, and we had quite a discussion with a number of people about this. So when I was going to jail, I had already seen that President Edgar Lungu is not eligible. And like I said, that I had to ask myself a moral question to say, what sin am I committing by allowing President Edgar Lungu to continue, even if the Constitution is not allowing him, according to my opinion? I gave an example here to say, suppose you have two people, one who is not a good man, but the Constitution allows him, and another one who is a good man, but the Constitution does not allow him. What do you do under such circumstances? You have a good man, the Constitution allows him. You have a bad man, or you have a bad man, the Constitution allows him. You have a good man, the Constitution does not allow him. What do you do under such circumstances? That is the question that I asked myself. And at that point, like I've been saying, that I find President Edgar Lungu to be a lesser evil. So I went for the lesser evil. Though I was convinced that from my understanding that President Edgar Lungu was not eligible at that point. Today, I've vacated that position. I'm on a different position now. I am no longer arguing to say President Edgar Lungu is a lesser evil, Edgar Lungu, HH is lesser evil. I'm not arguing at that point of view. I'm not arguing at that point of view. Today, I'm not arguing from the point of view to say Edgar Lungu is a lesser evil. I'm not arguing from that point of view. But don't ask me what my position is, because irrespective of what I think, irrespective of what I feel, President Edgar Lungu was my father. President Edgar Lungu opened the doors of State House for me. I may not have gotten what I expected or what I wanted, but by the fact that he opened State House for me, I will not come here. I will not be the one to be the first one to throw a stone at him. I will not do that. I will not do that. I will rather leave people to decide. But I will not be the one to decampaign President Edgar Lungu. I'm not going to decampaign him as a person. I'm not going to do that. But I'm arguing the Constitution. Yes, my wife. Let me finish. I'll be there. So, what I'm arguing here, it's not the personality of President Edgar Lungu. I am arguing the Constitution. And not so much, I'm not going to argue the Constitution per se. I'm basically now trying to make you understand the petition of President of John Sangwa. John Sangwa's petition, his argument is very simple. He is basically saying, when President Edgar Lungu came in 2015, when President Edgar Lungu came in 2015, he came in under the old constitution, which constitution never spoke about somebody becoming president as a result of a vacancy due to death or resignation of a president. These things came into the 2016 constitution. He's saying in the 2015, when President Edgar Lungu came in, the only issue that was there is being elected. Once you are elected, that's it. And the constitution was very clear to say a person who has been elected twice cannot stand. That's what the old constitution said. If you have been elected twice, that's it. In terms of how long you stay, the old constitution did not talk about that. The issue of the term and the vice president, there is nothing of that sort in the old constitution when President Edgar Lungu came in. When President Edgar Lungu came in, what was there is a person who has been elected twice. Once you are elected once, it doesn't matter how long you stay there, you have been elected. You are elected again, that's it. But the new constitution came in after President Edgar Lungu himself signed it. And that is when it brings a scenario now of the vice president taking over or somebody else being elected. And if that person takes over, and run for less than 2 years, for less than 3 years, it means he has not served a term. But if it is more than 3 years, then he has served a term. This is coming in the new constitution, not in the old constitution. President Edgar Lungu, he is a creation of the old constitution, which is not talking about the president and the terms. It's not talking about that. So the moment President Edgar Lungu was elected, it counted as one. And now, President Edgar Lungu, in 2016 to 2021, has done another term. So meaning President Edgar Lungu has done 2 terms. And John Sangwa is arguing, saying, the situation that you talk about of the term has never happened, has never been applied. It has never been applied. The situation that you talk about in Article 106, it has never happened, because from the time that this law came in, we have not had a president who has died. We have not had a vice president who has taken over as a result of a vacancy in the presidency. So the new constitution as it is, the Article 106, has never been applied because President Edgar Lungu did not take over power as a result of a vacancy in the presidency after the new constitution. The situation that we talk about where President Sata died applies in the old constitution, and we treat it according to the old constitution. And that is why we went for an election. We went for an election because that is what applied that time. So we cannot bring what applied in the old constitution into the new constitution. Or we cannot take back this situation of this new constitution, take it back into 2015. We can't do that. In 2015, when President Edgar Lungu was taking over power, the moment he was elected and sworn in, that's it. It was a term. No discussion, no what. It was a term because the constitution at that time prescribed as such. No, what about what is written in this new constitution? This is in this new constitution. It does not apply to President Edgar Lungu. It doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to the situation we faced in 2015. It doesn't apply. And it has not been applied yet because we have not had one president who has died or resigned or impeached or incapacitated or left office as a result of incapacitated. We haven't had that situation yet. It is a new constitution. It has not been touched. That provision has not been applied yet. From the time that President Edgar Lungu signed it, have we had a president who died? No. We haven't had any president who died. Did President Edgar Lungu today, as we speak, did he assume power because a president died? No. He was elected according to the new constitution. And that's why he had a running mate in the new constitution, and he had to win by 51% plus. By 50% plus. So the only thing that we have tested in this new constitution is the 51% plus, the running mate, the date of the elections. In terms of a president dying, in terms of vacancy, we have not had that situation yet. No, but Sata died. Yes, Sata died. But it was in the old constitution. What applies is what was in the old constitution, not what is written in the new constitution. These are arguments that John Sangwa is making. These are the arguments that John Sangwa is making. He's simply saying this provision. So those of you who have been arguing, no, the Concord has ruled, no, because from whatever 18 months, it is not 3 months. All that is in the new constitution, not in the old constitution. President Edgar Lungu is of the old constitution. The first term was from the old constitution. And the terms and conditions that apply before he signed the new constitution, it's those which applied in the old constitution. Those are the terms and conditions that apply. And the terms and conditions at that point, they did not talk about 3 years and so on and so forth. They didn't talk about that. So don't apply the 18 months to the old constitution because it is just not there. It is in the new constitution. But this new constitution, no one has died for us to start talking about 3 years. No one has died. We have not had a vacancy in the office of the president according to the new constitution. This is the argument of John Sangwa. And we leave it to the Concord to rule. We are waiting for the Concord to rule. How will the Concord rule? What are the implications of this petition? What are the implications? When we spoke, some of us, you called us bitter, no, because of Mama Sales, that's why you lelandila. And even when I spoke in the corridors of power, some people thought Hakainde Hichilema has given me money. That's what some people thought. Some people thought Hakainde Hichilema has given me money. Some people, they even came to search around in my house. They searched. Everywhere they searched, looking for money that Hakainde Hichilema has given me. Just because some of us questioned about this, and they thought, no, it's Hakainde Hichilema who was given us money. I'm speaking, Hakainde Hichilema is there. Go and ask him. Up to today, I've not received not even a single ngwe. I've not received not even a single ngwe. And for that matter, I've never received ngwe, one ngwe from Hakainde Hichilema, never. So those of you who are peddling these lies, who are thinking that I'm getting money from Hakainde Hichilema or from any associates of Hakainde Hichilema, you're just lying. You're just cheating yourselves. I've not gotten any money from Hakainde Hichilema or his associates. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. The only money that I can say I have benefited out of politics or out of my talking is from the PF. It's from the PF. But these things I'm telling you, these are truth. Me, I stand for the truth. And many times I used to say, even if you give me money, it's not an insurance that when something is wrong, I'll keep quiet. I'll say things as they are. Some of you, you think I am inconsistent. You think I am unstable. No. No, I follow the truth. It doesn't matter who it is. I just say things as they are. And what are these things? I spoke about them. And today, John Sangwa is in Concord. And we have to see how the Concord will rule over this. How will the Concord rule? Will the Concord say, no, the first term that President Edgar Lungu was not a term? When the Concord, when the Constitution said, once you are elected, it counts one. Will they say it doesn't count? I don't know. We have to wait and see that. We have to wait and see that. But what are the implications anyway, moving forward? What are the implications either way? Let me start with the Vice President. I hope the Concord says, no, the law was followed. These people were duly elected, were duly nominated. They were validly nominated. If that happens, well and good. Then the elections will go on as scheduled on the Vice President. Then the elections will go on as scheduled on the 12th of August. But if the Concord agrees with John Sangwa, then all the running mates will be nullified. All the running mates will be nullified. And when the running mates are nullified, it means the nominations collapses. Because all the presidents must have running mates. They cannot go without running mates. So the nominations would have collapsed. And we would have to do fresh nominations. The question that I have is, will the current running mates be allowed to contest as well? That is the question that I have. If the Concord rules to say John Sangwa is right, these running mates must also have 100 supporters. And probably, from my point of view, probably they must also pay the 95,000 kwacha. If the Concord rules like that, then the nomination collapses. The question that I have, which I'm not sure, will these people who have been nominated, these people, the Narumangos, the Nkanduluos, will they have a chance to be selected again, or they will be disqualified? Because according to the Constitution, it actually says that if somebody is petitioned and he loses in the Concord, if somebody is petitioned and he loses in the Concord, it means that person cannot participate in the fresh nominations. So, from my little understanding of the Constitution, I'm not a big lawyer. My literal reading of the Constitution, when a nomination is done and somebody petitions that nomination, it goes to the Concord. The Concord rule nullifies that person. That person cannot contest or cannot file in a fresh nomination. So if my reading of the Constitution is right, it means the Nalumangos, the Nkanduluos cannot be selected as running mates again if John Sangwa succeeds. That is my understanding. I leave that to the legal minds to interpret, but from my reading of the Constitution, that's just what it means. They have been petitioned, they have lost the case. That's it. They cannot come back again. They cannot come back. We will have to look for different people to go as running mates. And of course, this will change in terms of, it will change the date. We will definitely not going to have elections on the 12th August. I actually highly doubt we will be voting for president on the 12th August. I highly doubt this will happen because of these petitions. I doubt. I highly doubt. So that is on the vice presidents. That is on the vice presidents. If the Concord rules, no, this was wrong, I doubt the Nalumangos, the Nkanduluos will have an opportunity to be running mates. That is my understanding. It's up to the legal minds to make a determination. What about President Edgar Chagwa Lungu? A very interesting one. A very, very interesting one. If President Edgar Chagwa Lungu succeeds, the court declares him eligible, then the PF and the country at large is warm and dry. We will go on with the elections as scheduled. We will go on with the elections as scheduled. But if President Edgar Lungu is nullified, the Concord rules, President Edgar Lungu is not eligible. He has already done 2 terms. Then we will go for a fresh nomination. And President Edgar Lungu cannot participate in that fresh nomination. What will happen is that the PF will have to look for another candidate. The PF will have to look for another candidate. This may sound not so good for the PF, but these are the realities. That if President Edgar Lungu is declared ineligible, the PF will have to look for another president. And this president will have to look for another running mate. This is what it means. And all other political party leaders will also have to file in their nominations. Hakainde Hichilema will have to file in his nomination. It will be all fresh. This is the implication of these petitions. My brothers and sisters in PF may not like to hear this, but I know they know that they must be courageous. They must be courageous to table this in their central committee. You must boldly discuss this because you might be caught unaware you might find yourself in problems. You must table this and possibly start looking around amongst yourselves. Who could take over from President Edgar Lungu? This is a possibility. And this is where I have been saying, you guys in PF, don't look at some of us as traitors. Don't hate us when we are speaking out, because some of these things that we have been speaking out, we actually speak for you. Whenever PF, you are so scared. You are so scared of President Edgar Lungu. President Edgar Lungu was chosen by God, but you want to take President Edgar Lungu as your God. You don't question anything. This issue should have been discussed in the Central Committee. Seriously. Because I know some of you senior members know about this. Some of you had doubts about this. And yet you were scared to talk about it. You were scared to talk about it. And even now as I'm talking, I know some of you are saying you are casting aspersions on me. But you shouldn't. These are realities. These are national matters. They are beyond an individual. President Edgar Lungu is just one of the individuals in this country. President Edgar Lungu was just an ordinary citizen before he became president. I don't know why we have all of a sudden idolized him like a god. It's not good. And I'm saying this not that I hate President Edgar Lungu, not at all. But these are realities. We should not worship a person. We should only worship God. And we should not be scared to bring up these issues even in our parties. Bring them up. But PF, you are 50-50. You are in a 50-50 situation. The court might say, okay, he's eligible. Or they might say he's not eligible. And in that case, somebody has to take over. So why fear to discuss this? Why fear to discuss this? Why do you want to act like nobody else can lead this country apart from Edgar Lungu? Did we think that anybody else can lead this country or Edgar Lungu can lead this country after Sata? We never thought. And yet, it happened, and up to today, President Edgar Lungu is leading. I know PF. I know a number of people in PF. And I know for sure there are people that can lead PF. I know there are people that can take over from PF and campaign and win this election. I know. They are there. But you are too scared to even shake or to even think like that. But these are realities. You have got a petition, my brothers and sisters. You have a petition. Whether you like it or not, you have a petition. And this petition is very interesting. And I'm praying for the Concord judges. I want to pray for the Concord judges. You clergymen of this country, pray for the Concord judges that God inspires them, that they make correct judgments. Because this is not about an individual. This is about our country. The decision that those judges are going to make, those Concord judges are going to make, it is not about Edgar Lungu. It is about this country. We should be a country that upholds our constitution. Especially when we are facing a situation like this one. It will not help. It will not help this country, nor the judges themselves, if the human aspect of them overwhelms them or takes over of them to make a judgment, to make an emotional judgment based on their affiliation, based on their, affinity. It will not be right. Our constitutional court at this point in time, it is under a serious test. Will they pass this test? Will they bring out a judgment that will stand the test of time, that will make this country be admired like the way we have looked in other countries, countries like Malawi, countries like Kenya, where the judiciary went above board, even South Africa. The courts have been making landmark judgments in South Africa. This, we may not like John Sangwa, but he has given us an opportunity to prove ourselves, to prove that we have men and women of integrity. We have wise, a jury in this country. What will it be? But at the end of the day, my appeal is to the Zambian people, my brothers and sisters. Let us not attach emotions to this case. Rather, let us use reason. I am appealing to all Zambians that please, on this one, let us not attach our emotions to this case. Let us use reason. Let us use reason. Let us not start calling each other names, because of this case. Let the lawyers go and argue their cases. And at the end of the day, let us get a judgment that we all read and say, yes, indeed, this is what it is. The judges have a lot to do. If they don't handle this case properly, this country could be in problems. But sometimes the judges could handle this case properly, but because we want things to go our own way, we may not like what the judgment would be. No, we shouldn't do that. We should detach our emotions. We should be reasonable. I'm looking forward to this case. I'll be reading. I want to follow the proceedings of this case. I want to hear the arguments. And at the end of the day, I want to see a reasonable judgment. I have my opinion. But that opinion is just my opinion from a layman's point of view. I want to see what the learned judges, the learned Concord judges will say. And it should convince me. I will read it with reason, without any bias whatsoever. Zambia is about to be watched worldwide. How do they handle this matter? It is up to those lawyers that will be arguing this case, and at the end of the day, the Concord judges. My brothers and sisters, this is what I wanted to share this evening. I've done it not out of bitterness, not out of malice, not out of any bias, objectively speaking. And this is the Chilufya Tayali I want to be. I don't want to be a Chilufya Tayali siding with either side. I want to be a Chilufya Tayali that speaks objectively, that speaks reason. And if you give me a vote as a mayor, you will actually be helping me a lot. You will actually be helping me a lot, because that platform will give me that objective ground where I can work for the people of Lusaka and give my opinion or share my my thinking on national matters without thinking to say, when I say this, Kaiza Zulu will not give me 5 pin. When I say this, Chris Zumanizimba will not give me 2 pin. I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And damn, I'm done with that. I strongly tell you that I don't want that. I want to stand on my own. But I will stand on my own if you help me. If you help me, I will stand on my own. Right now, I'm looking for resources to campaign. Please help me to get those resources and do the campaign. I need to win this election. I have to win this mayoral position. Please help me win this mayoral position. Those of you with resources, give me a bit of your resources. Anything will help. I've got nowhere to go and ask. I'm simply asking to my fellow Zambians to help me so that I can help. I can save the Zambian people. Please help me out. Thank you very much.
If you are joining me for the first time, please remember to click subscription button and hit that notification bell to be the first person to receive the video that will be produced by Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, updating you. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media.